We're going to start on our backs today, which is coming down onto your back. And just taking a full body stretch. Oh, I meant to mention, so if for any of the balance postures today, you wanted use of a chair nearby or the wall, you might want to have that next to you, just if you want to use that for balance. So, all right, so we're going to come into our back. Take a nice full body stretch. Like a morning stretch, just like you just woke up, which many of us might have. And just stretch out like your cat or dog, just yawning the body. So yawning the space of the chest and the hips by maybe pushing through your heels and alternating sides. So yawning out any sort of stiffness that you can just by stretching through your sides. You're giving lots of space for the diaphragm here by giving some space between your lower ribs and hip bones. And just pause, and you can let your arms come to your sides or out to the side, and either bend your knees or have your legs straight, whatever is most comfortable right now. Just take a moment to drop right into your body. Take several breaths. We'll just do a brief scan down through your body, maybe noticing parts that feel resistant still or stiff or tight. And maybe notice areas that feel more relaxed or at ease, even after you did just a little bit of stretching. So basically noticing this Thursday morning body just as it is, and just welcoming it all in just as it is. As we bring our attention to the breath, you might just notice the inhale and the exhale, just your natural breath as you relax, and just kind of check out, when we get out of bed in the morning, just are our nostrils clear? Are we breathing well through both? Do we need to clear the nostrils? Do we feel a sense of the chest or the lung space expanding a little bit, or rising and falling? Or are we kind of holding on in the chest or the belly? We'll start to deepen your breath a little bit. So at the beginning of class, it can be a little harder. So just starting to expand. See if you can feel the breath come down behind the navel, and just feeling the belly rise as you breathe in. Relaxing through the chest and the shoulders. So you can now kind of bring that breath lower and more subtle into the belly. Notice if both sides of your body rise. So maybe even when you're filling your belly, one side kind of fills up more than the other. Push your hands there if you want. And just kind of feel that right now in the morning. And even notice the sides. So take a couple breaths. See if you can fill into the oblique muscles or the sides here and feel those expand. Even the transverse abdominis comes around to the back side of us. So we can kind of feel that maybe a little bit this morning. And we'll start to just bring ourselves into a little more core breathing. So we use the abdominal wall or the bandhas or the Uddiyana bandha to start. So with the in breath, let's just relax our belly and expand like we were doing. And then on your exhale, now we're going to press the belly down to the floor. So engage between the hip points and from the lower part of your sternum to the pubic bone. So we're going to kind of shrink that area in, press the back down. And on the in breath, kind of expand that, what can be called like the corset. Like we want to expand around the side ribs and the belly. And then on the exhale, to shrink or shorten the rectus abdominis and the transverse. So we're kind of moving into our pelvic tilting to do that. Right, so the in breath, expanding around the waist and the belly, really subtly, nothing forced, and then pressing and contracting low belly and solar plexus. And then in breath expands. And exhale breath, little tuck of the tailbone and press of the back down. So this core breathing is subtle but low and deep. Try just a few more breaths there. So we're feeling this nice support. And we're going to come to a pause for a moment. Just relax the belly. Then bring the right hand behind the right head, the back of the head. And we don't have two heads. So we're going to take a little awareness of the obliques. So with the in breath, again, expanding, and the exhale breath, I'm going to draw the left knee and cross the right shoulder over and just kind of feel that. Maybe even pause for a moment and squeeze a little bit into the obliques between the left hip bone and the left lower rib, and just kind of contracting there. So we want to enliven these muscles. They're going to help us balance. And then inhale, release. And then exhale, we're going to lift again, both knee and head crossing over. But we're using the belly. Try not to use the neck or pull on the neck. Contracting the sideways. And then inhale to lower. You could even bring the left hand to the knee if you wanted to, just to support that, but just feel that contraction. So we'll do that about 4 more times. And so it's more about feeling the squeeze of the tissue and the release. So we're bringing prana into that area. And then just pause. You can bring your hand down, relax the head, the neck, and take a breath. Feel both sides of the abdomen. Notice a difference between right and left. You feel a tingling sensation or a heat on one side. And let's switch to the other side. Left hand behind the head. Inhale back. As you exhale, lift the knee, press shoulders, head, squeeze into that right side waist. Inhale back. And exhale. Shorten the distance between the lower right rib and the thigh bone or hip bone. And release. Let's try about 4 more of those. And when you release, pause, take a breath. Maybe place the hands on the abdomen again just to fill. And to empty and engage. Good. And we'll bring our arms, legs overhead, just nice and long, kind of plug the heads of the humerus or the upper arm bones back into the floor. So we're creating this nice open chest, shoulders are back. And you feel the sacrum on the floor and the thoracic spine a little bit. We'll feel the backs of our shoulders probably more than the upper back. Good. So here, and a modification would be to bend your knees, right? But we're going to take some movements. I like to call this like a puppet. So on the out breath, just lowering right arm, right leg down and forward, left arm overhead, contracting the belly. Inhale to come up. And switching to the other side. Exhale. Pressing the belly back. And coming back up. And just continue that walking. So notice the stable spine. The back of the head even slightly pressing down. So we find that central core that supports all this movement in our limbs. We have our natural curves in our cervical spine and in our lumbar spine. They're probably not touching the floor. We just notice from side to side any imbalance. Let's take this last one, right? And bring the knees into the chest, soften the belly, and just rock side to side. So just releasing the shoulders and the back. And letting go. Good. So we'll come back to neutral. Place the feet flat, right? Pressing down into all four corners. We're going to take them about hip width apart and start a nice ascent up into a bridge pose, but nice and slow. So we connect with our central channel that's going to help us balance. It's that ray of light that comes right down through the crown of our head, down through our central part of our body and between our feet and into the earth. So let's take a breath. So the in-breath, just softening the belly. And as you exhale, just start to tuck the tailbone and the sacrum. We're going to start to roll up. And as we do, lifting our arms with that ascent all the way up. Okay. Pressing down into your feet. Pause at the top. Take a breath here. Right, and then we'll start our descent down and finding that central channel nice and slow. Finding each vertebrae, or if you're finding it in sections, that's okay. We're just visualizing each vertebrae coming down. Take a breath, maybe arch the spine a little bit. And then exhale, tuck again. We'll take one more. So just curling up. Right, bringing our attention and our energy and our focus right to that anterior or front side of the spine. Pause at the top, take a breath. And then slowly start your descent down. Stay with the feet grounded, not rolling out or in. Coming all the way back down. Pause at the bottom. Maybe stretch your legs out, right? Have a nice full body stretch. Let your arms float down by your sides. Take a breath. Maybe notice the energy in the hips and the backs of the legs. See how that feels. Good. And we're going to take just a little more warming for the hips. So just taking our hip circles. Let's take that right leg and bend it out to the side, circle it up towards the top and cross it over. And again, the modification is to bend your knees. We're really exploring the right hip joint. So we start to stretch a little bit the outer hip as you cross the thigh over, across the midline of your body. Maybe take that a little slower. So we're stretching that outer hip because that can affect our balance, right? When our hips are tight, we turn out and we forget to go to our midline. We forget to go to our support system. So we want a balanced system, right? All parts just as strong. So we're strengthening inner as well as outer. And the next time you circle around, pause at the top, reach up behind the leg, and we'll take about 3 breaths. Really extending through that left leg if you have it straight. And pressing the back of the knee to the floor. Good, one more breath. You might flex those toes back because we're going to be standing on that foot, and we want to have this length in the Achilles and in the calf muscle. Right? So like you're standing on the earth right now. Just bend the knee. We're going to reach behind the knee. Now pretend imagine you're standing on your left foot And you're just holding the back of the right knee and pressing the back of the head down, rolling the shoulders back. So here we're standing up in asana pose. We'll take one more breath. And you could gently pull that knee in towards your rib cage or lower ribs. Good. And release and just stretch that leg out, pause and feel the difference. From right side to left side. Notice if you're starting to feel the breath move in a little deeper as you release. And let it flow back out. So let's start our circles on the left side, circling out to the side, up, across, around, and down. I like to keep my toes flexed back. You could experiment with whether you like the toes pointed or flexed. But if we're going to stand on this foot, again, we want to kind of then press through the heel to find out what does it feel like to stand on this leg today. And stretch the back of the knee out. Do you feel strength in all parts of that circle? Is there an area that feels less engaged, less prana? Next time you come around, bring that leg up to the top. We'll reach behind and recommit to breath awareness as we're stretching, right? We're lengthening this static hold. And recommitting to noticing all parts. So as we press through both heels and draw the upper arm bones back, feeling the scapula move towards the spine, we're fully engaged in the back of the head. Gently presses back. We'll feel the neck muscles and the cervical spine a little bit. And then what is it? How does it shift if we bring our hands behind the thigh and move into standing up in asana pose? At least that's what I call it. There might be another standing name for it. And take one more breath. So just to feel this, we're going to feel it again standing. And we'll release. Let that leg come to the floor. Take a breath. Soften the legs. Let them relax for a moment. Soften the arches of your feet and toes. Feeling the after effects are just as important, the receiving. And then we're going to slide. We'll bring our hands to our sides. Thumbs up, little fingers down. And slide your right leg up to tree pose. So we're going to bring the sole of the foot either to the inside edge of the calf muscle or the thigh. You could use a block behind that knee if that feels better to support it right in this moment. And then we're going to bring the arms with the thumbs back, just bring them up overhead. So, and we're going to engage a little bit, right? So as we press through the left heel, notice what happens in your body with your arms overhead. Does your rib cage pop out? Can you draw the lower ribs back in? Press the back of the head gently down. And the back of the left hip, do we start to roll towards the right? Right? Because in our standing pose, we want to have the back of the left hip pressing down. And the sole of the foot pressing into the leg to engage. Now finding your central channel, just pulling up through Mula Bandha and lengthening through the crown of the head. Just imagine that ray of light coming down through the crown, through the center, and down the inside edge of our foot into the earth. And we'll let our arms float back down, straighten that leg out, and take a breath. Like we're in mountain pose here. So you could flex your feet, flex your toes back, stand on the earth, turn your palms up, outward, sliding the scapula towards each other, lower ribs, draw back and down. Good. We'll switch to the other side. So tree pose on the other side. If you want, use your block. We'll slide that left leg up, maybe support it, maybe not. So again, we could thumbs up, bring the arms straight up the center and overhead. And if you find if your arms are coming back to the floor and you're popping those lower ribs out, and you're finding that's difficult to do, bring your hands to your heart in the tree pose and don't do the overhead arms, so you can have the rib cage back, lower ribs back. Right, so finding your tree pose, Brakshasana. Let's take a breath. And press the sole of the foot into the leg or calf. I find this a lot of groin opening because we're pressing the back of the right hip down. We don't want to roll towards the left hip. And also the breath, right? So finding the breath. Good. So we'll release our tree pose. Slide that leg out. Take a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. And one more posture on our back. So we're going to slide our legs over to the lower right corner of the mat and our arms and shoulders to the upper right corner, coming into half moon or crescent moon. And you could cross the left foot over the right ankle if you want. If you find you roll too much onto your right side, then leave them uncrossed. Good. So you might grab your left wrist with your right hand and gently pull to feel that length in the left side body. So let's take a few breaths there on the left side body from the little toe up to the little finger. So it's awake in this lunar energy, the moon energy, the calm or this parasympathetic, with the breath up this left side body. Down the left side. And then we'll come back to our standing mountain pose, our supine mountain pose, neutral spine. Breathing right up the central channel and back down. The subtle energy is very different than muscular sensation, right? It's light, it's tingly, it's heat, it's life. Let's slide our legs to the lower left corner and the upper right corner with the arms and hands. And so just waking up that right side energy of our body. So we're balanced. We have even flow. So this would be the sun or sun energy, sympathetic nervous system. So breathing from our lower right little toe up the right side body to the little finger and back down again as you exhale. Notice if this side feels like more sensation or life in it or less. Which side are we more alive in, or are we balanced? And then we'll come back to our supine mountain pose. We'll take a breath. Good. Find a quietness in the exhale. So we're not rushing. And I say that to myself because I tend to rush, tend to want to do what comes quickly and what comes next. So let's come onto our hands and knees just briefly. We won't be there long. So if you do want padding under your knees, you could bring some padding there, but just a little more awareness of our spine and moving into our body. So as we come into tabletop, just starting to take our cat and cow movements. So with the building that architecture, we feel like spreading the fingers wide and taking length from tail to crown as we come into cow and lift the chin. Good. Spin the inner elbows forward so you feel connection to the scapula on your back. And we feel sturdy with the earth, right? So if we press our shin bones down and press into our palms, we're feeling this really good connection to groundedness and to our skeletal system and to our joints, right? So good joint support. And so as you exhale, then let's find the joints of the spine and round the back. And the in breath, lengthening from tail to crown, looking forward. And the out breath, each vertebrae, right? Just slide your awareness to each vertebrae, rounding the spine. Right there, there's this gelatinous substance, right? The discs between each vertebrae that can squish a little bit as we round and then release. So we have the water element in our spine. Good, which provides really good support, but also gives us flexibility and movement and agility and mobility. And let's come back to neutral and look forward. And then exhale, just taking hips back to heels in that direction, stretching the arms forward. And just pause in your child's pose for a moment. Take the next few breaths to gently contract Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. So the pelvic floor and the low belly on the exhalation. So we're taking some core breathing. So this is going to provide us with that central focus for balance. Go to your source deep in the belly. And we'll move in and out of that just a few times. So breathing in, looking forward, coming up. And exhale, tuck the belly, slide the hips back. Doing that a few times. Core connection. And the next time you come up, you might come into a downward facing dog. And if you want to do that standing with your hands on the chair, that could be a good option, right? A little less pressure in palms, wrists, and the ankles. So we'll stay for about 3 to 5 breaths. And you might bend the knees a little bit if you need a little more length in your lower back. Press into the balls of the feet to engage the upper legs, like feel the quadriceps slightly active. And spinning your inner elbows forward, lengthening the back of the neck by drawing the chin slightly in. Take one more breath. Good. And we'll walk our hands and feet together and slowly roll up. So again, we're going to find the balance from right to left by pushing into both feet and feeling the spine right up the center, rolling up. Right, as you root down to rise, bring the arms overhead, right, touch the sky, and bring the hands to the heart, coming into mountain pose, Tadasana. Camera back a little bit. So standing tall in Tadasana, right, here we are. Let's take a breath, just reaching up, so lengthening through our spine, exhaling the hands to the heart. Inhale, sweeping out and up. Engaging through the legs as you exhale. And one more breath. So let's just kind of balance our space out. This exhale, let's shift our weight to the left foot, coming into standing Apanasana, just like on the earth. You might reach behind the thigh or in front of the knee. Pause. So the body remembers the shape. So come back to that shape that we had on our backs. And as you root down, notice in your core connection, are your lower ribs, and can you pull those back a little bit? Draw the chin back. Maybe take one more breath. Let the shoulders drop away from your ears. Go ahead and touch that foot to the floor, mountain. Equal weight, 2 feet. Let's center it with a breath, reaching all the way up. And again, hands to heart, exhaling, shifting weight right, lifting left, coming into standing Apanasana pose, reaching behind or in front. Flexing the foot can engage and spreading the toes, right? Help us to stay in that leg so it's not just flopping around in the space. It's a part of the pose. So is every part of you a part of the pose? So as you lengthen the back of the neck a little, and even bring your attention into your facial muscles. Good, and touch that foot to the floor. You might notice a total difference on one side or the other. Let's take a breath to center. Exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Find your central channel and shift it to the left foot again. Right? We're going to come into tree pose, Brakshasana. Slide the foot to the calf muscle or bring it to the inner thigh. And if you want to reach the arms overhead, spin the thumbs back, little fingers forward. Draw the lower ribs in. And slide that right hip forward, the left hip back a little bit. The pose is always alive. There's internal actions that are happening. This is the point. Can we stay with that internal focus to bring us balance? What throws us off? That's a big question. Loaded question. What throws you off every day? Right? Who throws you off? What situations or experiences throw you off your balance? And let's step that foot to the side. Just little things and big, big things. Life in general changes, right? Let's shift to the other foot. Change in general. And we go with the flow to find balance. Things are going to change. It's just the way it goes. Nature, always changing. Taking 3 to 5 breaths to come into those subtle cues for connecting to our balance. This side might be different, so then we have to be a little more aware, right? What on this side needs connection. Maybe we just need to come back to the breath or allow ourselves to fall out and step our foot to the floor. Good. Both feet flat. Let's take a breath. Reach all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Find both feet on the earth. Good. And I really love this sunrise, sunset for bringing awareness right to our center. So let's just do a few of those. We're going to clasp the hands right below the belly. And as you inhale, just kind of gather, find your central channel. We're going to bring the palms up the center, press them overhead, and then reach out as you're exhaling. So we're going to draw the belly in, reaching out. So supporting the back, coming down as low as your back is comfortable, right? Don't overdo. And then gather up the earth, bring it right up your central channel or that awareness on your in-breath. Press the palms up and exhale, reaching out. So now we have equal awareness on right to left side of the body, and we're coming to our center. Notice how that feels. I actually notice a little difference between my right and my left, still with my injury. So you might have things in your body that make one side of your body feel different than the other. The sensation or the flow might be different. Yeah, we're just kind of using the breath to equalize. We could bring a little more symmetry between our right and left side. And we might just come back to Anjali Mudra, hands at the heart. Take a breath. Just check in with the response in your breath and in your body. Bring the fingertips together, open the palms in front of the belly, Hakini Mudra, which is a balancing mudra. See how that changes. You notice parts of the body that pull in one direction or the other. As you keep coming back to that midline of the body. It's very subtle. And it's all just information of how the life is flowing through us. And we can impact how life flows through us. We have that ability. So let's come down onto the mat, come into supine posture. I'm going to take just a gentle spinal twist as we bring our arms out to the sides. And just pick up the hips, shift them to the right. And then drop your knees over to the left. And you could turn your head towards the right. Bringing your knees back to center. Feet flat, we'll pick up the hips, shift them left, and drop the knees over to the right. And again, there's a lot of internal awareness happening here. As you turn your head left, if that feels okay. Now noticing, where does the breath flow into the chest? Maybe where does it feel more compressed? The side feel different. If it does feel different, or if there's an area that feels more blocked or tight, see if you can, if you like, you could just explore that, just bringing the breath into that part. Maybe filling the back ribs or side ribs. And then bringing your knees back in. And just taking a brief inversion, maybe supine bridge pose. So you could restorative bridge. We'll just bring the block right under the tailbone, under the pelvis, coming into supine bridge or Setu Tadasana. And just taking the ankles under the knees, shoulders back, space under your chin. So just coming back to the breath. You notice your breath start to move down to the belly. And just like at the beginning of class, you might then notice, can we fill the belly and around to the sides in a horizontal direction with the breath? So just filling the corset or just a gentle contraction. We won't have a lot of contraction on the exhale, but just a little bit. Filling even down to the pelvic diaphragm, expanding that lowest diaphragm of the body on the in breath. As you exhale, gently contracting Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Still pacifying the upper chest and neck muscles. You could stay there a few more breaths if you like, or come into Shavasana. It's a good time just to check in Shavasana now with the letting go and balancing the energy body with the breath that comes up from the right foot, up the right side body to the eyebrow center. With the exhale breath, down the left side body to the left foot and out again. And then you could reverse that in through the left foot, up the left side body to the forehead or the third eye. And then exhale down the right side. Just kind of see how that flows for you. Maybe one side is easier than the other. Maybe we're feeling a pretty even flow now in both sides. And so you could check that out if you want to, or you could just let go, just have your Shavasana, just relaxing. Just breathing naturally in and out. Letting go of effort. You might just start to move your body a little bit and take a breath into your heart space and just allowing the heart to breathe and compassion, self-love, just as you move your body gently. Bring a kindness here to this body that moves you through life. Bringing the heart, you might start to just hold the knees and maybe rock side to side on your back. If you're moving forward with your day, just kind of remembering this presence, this sensation that you can live from, this balance as you go throughout your day. If you're looking to stay with this a little bit longer, we'll just come to seated and take a moment before you leave your mat, if you're leaving, to come to Hakini Mudra again. And if you're staying for breath and meditation, also taking Hakini Mudra, just come into our seated posture and notice any thoughts, sensations, feelings that arise here. So namaste to those that might be leaving, and for those staying, just resting the hands in the lap for a moment. Just taking awareness of your natural breath, moving in through the nose and out through the nose. We'll move into 5 rounds of 5 inhale, exhales in Nadi Shodhana or alternate nostril breathing. Placing the peace fingers at the eyebrow center of the right hand, peace fingers of the right hand. Thumb closes off right, inhaling left. Ring finger closes off left, exhaling right. Inhaling right. Closing off with thumb and exhaling left. So just continuing 5 inhale exhales here. Returning to your natural breath after your 5th one, just prana shuddhi is just the inhale to the eyebrow center through both nostrils. And exhale from the eyebrow center out both nostrils, right in the center. Take 3 breaths like that. And let's just take one more round of alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. Coming back to 5 breaths of prana shuddhi right up the middle, both nostrils to the eyebrow center on the inhale. And reversing back down and out through both nostrils on the exhale. And if you like, you could continue your silent meditation with Hakini Mudra or just resting your hands, whichever you prefer. Oh, namaste, everybody. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for sharing the energy and the practice, as always. Good to see you.